For as long as there's been the internet, there's been movies. And for as long as there have been movies, there have been books. And for as long as there have been books, there have been people who don't like to read. Nowadays, authors continue to crank out new novels by the dozens, ensuring that Hollywood will still have material to butcher 2 to 3 years from now. However, I'm a firm believer that the book is always better, so let's dig The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman. Now, if you're not familiar with Neil Gaiman, you should be. He's a great writer with a flair for creepy themes, his previous work including the Sandman graphic novel series and the bestseller-turned-blockbuster Coraline. The Graveyard Book is a thinly veiled attempt to transplant the basic structure of Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book to a new location.
It's a graveyard.
The dust jacket shows a crumbling tombstone with what looks like half an angel on it. It's odd, but certainly less disturbing than the alternative first printing with a baby crawling across a bloody knife. Sheesh. The back of the book also has a lot of canned praise from fellow authors telling you how great it is. I'm usually annoyed by this, but it's better than having a single paragraph from a random chapter. Nothing written in a good book is ever printed on the cover. Trenton walked toward me, and I began to tremble. I hated myself for ordering that 3-bean chili, but he said he didn't care. Okay, so the story begins with, there was a hand in the darkness, and it held a knife. Oh, you just know that can't be good. It turns out that the knife in question has already ripped through a mother, father, and their preteen daughter. The killer somehow loses the baby, however, and the kid manages to crawl all the way to the neighborhood graveyard at the end of the street. A kindly old couple named the Owenses spot the lad and decide to take him in, but their friends call their effectiveness as parents into question. Because they're dead. Oh, honey, I just don't know about this. It's been so long since you've had one of your own. And the crypt air will be terrible for his asthma. Mrs. Owens insists on keeping the living tyke, however. An outsider called Silas, who is apparently neither alive nor dead, volunteers to be the boy's guardian. He also gives him the name Nobody, or Bod for short. So this kid is going to grow up seeing dead people and living with the name Nobody. Way to boost his self-esteem early. Anyway, the ghosts convene and agree to let him stay, bestowing upon him the freedom of the graveyard, a mystical gift that will allow young Bod to see in the dark and walk through walls. By the way, the illustrations are great, aren't they? They were done by Dave McKean, a frequent collaborator of Gaiman's and the director of the film Mirror Mask. Now you know!
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe!
So young Bod grows up wandering the spacious graveyard, playing with the dead children, and sleeping in his parents' crypt. Cozy. Everything's going great until they learn that the man who killed Bod's family is still looking for him. Apparently, it wasn't a random slaughter, and the boy's death is very important to the man's profession. He manages to track Bod down with the help of some associates, and they set about preparing to kill him. I won't tell you how it ends. Suffice it to say that open mausoleums do not lead to Halloween Town.
Santa Claus.
Bottom line, this book is brilliant. Gaiman hits all the right notes with equal parts scary, funny, and thrilling. The characters are all interesting, especially tortured mentor Silas, who feels like he doesn't belong with the living or the dead. The author manages to put a clever spin on long-established horror icons, and comes up with some new creatures all his own. Go read it and then compare it to The Jungle Book. The original story, that is, not the watered-down Disney flick. That's it for me. I'm Rabbi saying, read a book!
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife.